let's be thankful, or at least we hope we can be thankful the rain did not come into Friday. We're crossing our fingers. That's all I'm trying to do.
The best coverage of high school and college athletics in Northeast North Carolina begins now. This is NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Episode 6, Season 3, the NENC Sports Radio Show. Owen Hassel, sports editor of the Daily Advance newspaper in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, alongside Advance sports writer Malcolm Shields. Looking fresh to death with that new cut.
Appreciate it. I needed it.
Yeah.
It's been a few months.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on the air thanks to WRVS 89.9 FM, located on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. It's WRVS, and it's your
community voice.
All high school football games maybe get played Friday. Again, the fingers crossing aspect, all the rain talk we just mentioned. Preparation time, though, limited at best due to such nasty weather. A lot of teams going inside, the chalk talk, whatever else you want to call it. How well will the fields drain to even play Friday is another question. On the flip side, Elizabeth City State football, first win under Ernest Wilson. So got a lot to discuss once again, and we sure will discuss all of it. But first, for more on Northeastern North Carolina sports, follow us on Twitter. Also use the hashtag NENC Sports to keep the discussion rolling. You can follow us at NENC Sports. Then for me, I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
And there's more ways to stay involved with sports in Northeastern North Carolina in the form of a blog. Go to nencsports.wordpress.com for tidbits that aren't always in the Daily Advance. I like doing power rankings each week and like to have some fun with that. Some people that might think, hey, you're being a little harsh or too cute. I don't care. And that means you're reading it, so I'm happy. All that matters. So not always in the Daily Advance, like those power rankings, interviews, video from various Northeastern North Carolina games. We'll be right back with our guest for this week's show.
Like our Facebook page and give us your questions and comments. Find us at facebook.com/NENC Sports.
Discover graduate education at Elizabeth City State University. ECSU currently offers 4 graduate degree programs: elementary education, biological sciences, school administration, and mathematics. To learn more, contact the Office of Graduate Education at 252-335-3947 or online at ecsu.edu.
Malcolm, this piece of taffy is for Shody Lowe.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Shody Lowe. Died in a car accident on Wednesday. Very unfortunate, of course. Sounded like he was a legend in Atlanta. That's the only song I know. I'm sorry. Is that bad thing? I don't know any other song. Not well versed on the Shody Lowe. Let's go ahead and bring in our first guest. I say first guest, our only guest on the show here tonight. The first-year coach at Pasquotank. Panthers are 4-0. I'm taking full credit for it. I was the sole motivation for Pasquotank winning at North Pitt last Friday. That's on me. I'm taking credit for it. I don't get credit for much. I deserve it. We welcome back on the show Chris McGee. Coach, how's your field handling all this rain?
Well, it's better than Bertie.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Last time I checked it, I mean, it's still draining well. We obviously have water around the outside. It's kind of where it's supposed to be. Very squishy, but the middle part of no stand where it's supposed to be in the ditch line around the outside. So I guess that's the best we can hope for with what we've had.
Chances anybody plays Friday?
I mean, it just keeps coming. I think 2 days ago it was saying it was going to stop this morning, and then as the week's gone on, it keeps kind of the percentages go up and up, and now it's 50-60% chance all day tomorrow. So somebody's going to have to get really, really lucky to play on Friday night.
Those people don't realize, maybe it'll be fine Friday. Oh, we can just play on the field. No, it doesn't work that way. You got a line of field. You got to probably cut the grass. That's probably going to be needed. So many different things to think about when you're looking at a field.
That's right.
What Coach McGee was talking about, Malcolm. You've seen the picture I posted up. I got it from a coach who had it from somebody else. I said, I got to put this up here. This is crazy. Bertie football field. I mean, once again, that's why we talk about follow us on Twitter. It's not like, hey, we just want to get all these followers. We're going to try to get updates to you about what's going on around here. That's what we do. The Bertie High School football field is, let's say, it resembles Albemarle Sound. No, Chowan River, because that's closer to Bertie. It's similar to that right now. I would say all the end zones are completely flooded. I'll go with at least 30 or 40 yards of that field completely flooded. And this was given to us on Wednesday evening, and Northeastern Bertie has been moved already to Monday. Also, you ain't playing Monday on that field. Is that too bold of a statement for me to make? Do I make bold statements a lot? I don't think I do, but here's one, right? Hot take?
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be real tough with that amount of water around the field.
Coach Grant Mazzell, love the guy. First year at Bertie, trying to build something. He tweets out, even after that, I put the photo out, plan to play on Monday. What? Huh? I don't know. Is there like a middle school field and play on something?
I don't know, maybe get some pumps out there and, pump it out of there. I don't know.
What pumps?
Just coming up with ideas.
I know you are. You're trying your best. You're being positive. I'm just saying, screw it all. It's not going to happen Monday. Realist. I'm just trying to be real here. Wow. So rain aside, coach, your team's 4-0. First time in Pasquotank history.
Right.
Crazy enough, that could almost qualify you for the playoffs right now, because
Right.
I like to look far ahead like that. I like to forget about the other 5 or 6 games you still have to play. 4-0, people are excited. How do you keep the kids grounded in a position they just haven't been in before?
Yeah, it's just it's one of those back and forth you're always dealing with as a coach. You try to keep them somewhere in the middle. You try not to get too high when things are going good, too low when things are going bad. So that's a constant fight. And it's a place that these kids haven't been before. And I want them to enjoy it. I want them to feel some of that confidence. And really, as we've talked as a staff, I think Friday night was against North Pitt was probably the first time that I saw the players, at least as a team. I mean, we've seen it in spots and with individuals, but as a team, I felt like that they started to really, really believe that they could be a good football team. I mean, I think they were still kind of waiting for something to go wrong as we kind of went through those first 3 weeks, and almost playing not to lose. I felt like a Friday night, because it was a close game. Halftime, we were fortunate enough to, we went after a punt, and it was a bad snap, and that was with a minute to go in the half. Got it inside the 10 and were able to score. But they never put their head down. I mean, they really, really played hard. I mean, that was the first thing their coach said when we shook hands. He said, "Man, your kids played really, really hard." And so I was extremely proud of that. And so we're kind of progressing. And I'm not at a point where I really think that they are overconfident at all. I mean, we're still kind of pumping, hey, you are a good football team. You are a good football team. But after Friday night, I feel really good about their mindset. So we know we got a tough one coming up, but I feel really good about where we are right now.
Yeah, I would be wary of practice, since you will be able to have practice. Edenton will not, because Edenton Chowan schools are supposedly out on Thursday. So there's a good chance there's going to be a couple guys named Mess Watera and Hall Poggard. They're going to be dressed up in Bobby Valentine-like outfits. Might be at practice. I'm just saying, look around you. Be wary of your surroundings, checking on things. People might have cell phones that have cameras. Just looking at practice. I'm just trying to be a friend. Right. And of course, that means you're playing Edenton. this Friday, hopefully. And
Right.
you've made the point to me, 4-0, great, winning games, always a good thing. But Edenton is a different kind of beast. How are the Aces such a different kind of beast? What makes them so dangerous?
Well, they're obviously everything starts offensively with the triple option with Edenton, and they're just very explosive. Luke Haggard, the quarterback, is the coach's son, but he's a coach on the field. I mean, he just manages the game so well, runs that triple option so well. We had our off week when they played Rocky Mount, and we had a chance to go as a staff and watch that. And really, I mean, I think Rocky Mount's obviously defending 3A state champ and rated top 5 in most of the polls in the state in 3A. And they really had them on the ropes. We were on the Rocky Mount sideline, or we were on the Rocky Mount side and had a chance to watch their sideline. They were very frustrated. Just a lot, not what you want your sideline to look like. The green kid that's committed to South Carolina, the linebacker, makes an incredible one-handed interception. Momentum changes, and Rocky Mount obviously goes on to win. But man, that game could have gone the other way very easily. So they're really, really well coached. They have whenever you face that triple option, you always worry about. And we faced Camden, obviously. They ran the triple option as well, but Bailey adds that big threat capability that most teams don't have. I mean, I think 907 yards or whatever he has right now, and he's not the only one. There's several of them that can go the distance at any point. But they're just extremely well coached in all phases. Special teams, they tend to break a kick, it seems like, every game, and so just a home run threat, and then they just do what they do really, really well. So we know we got to be extremely disciplined. Offensively, we're going to take care of the ball, and I mean, I just think it's a really good football team.
Malcolm, you've seen Pasquotank, you've seen Edenton. What Coach McGee's saying pretty true about that triple option, and how difficult is that going to be?
I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, they're relentless at it. With Deshaun Hall, he's another punch in that offense in terms of running the football, and even in the Rocky Mount game, they kind of brought out the passing game with Quaidus Boone, receiver on the outside. So it seems like Edenton's also trying to open up their passing game a little bit here.
Yeah, Edenton they're hitting their stride, really. It seems like last year, this is a team that could have been last year's team. I mean, not like you want to look in the past, but the injuries was the biggest loss for Edenton than any other loss it had last year. And now you've got guys healthy, very healthy. And Gaddis Hodges mentioned this a few weeks ago, how important it is to be a head coach of a program from year 1 to year 2. And that can't be understated or stated enough. What Paul Hoggard's been able to do in his second year, maybe the best overall staff of any high school football team in this corner, goes to Edenton. It's not a knock on anybody else's staff. It just, I've been to practices there. You've been to practices there. How precise practices go at Edenton.
Then they got like a timer out there
for
each period.
I mean, they got this huge timer sitting out there for each bit of practice. It's really something else. Unlike Pasquotank that just say, go out there and throw the ball. Hey, Marcus, run it. Just run it again and run it one more time. It works, right? 4-0. Every coach has their own way of doing it. No, but that's another matchup to think about that I would really be tuned into. You're going to be at that game. Keemon Bailey and Marcus Cowell, you're talking about the two best rushers in this area. I think both combined have at least 1,500 yards.
That'll be pretty safe to say.
Yeah, I'm going to say Coach, what does Marcus Cowell have right now, yardage-wise? Do you know?
He just topped the 700 mark against North Pitt. He has, I think it's 715, something like that.
So you're talking 1,600 plus yards between the two of them. I think both are on track to have 1,200 yard seasons. I think that's another safe to say. Hopefully, for Coach McGee's sake, Keemon doesn't get to that 1,200 on Friday.
That's right.
It's anything's possible. And I want to talk more about the building a program aspect, like Paul Hoggart has been doing at Edenton. And I hate to say building a program. Edenton's been established, it seems, for a number of years. How do you translate that to guys like Marcus and Michael Cowell, the twins, seniors, guys like Corey Jackson, guys that they're only going to be there 1 year, and you're trying to build something? How do you get that to them that you'll still be a piece of something, work with me here, even though you know you're trying to mold those freshmen and sophomores to what you want?
Right. Yeah, it's well, obviously they have to see some value in what they're doing. And so, you obviously coming into Pasquotank, one winning season and, in their history. So we kind of knew what we're building, but I'm not a very patient person either. I mean, and I know that I know conference play is totally different, and we've had a schedule that's been favorable for us, but we wanted to come in and I think we have we're sitting right around 20 seniors on the roster right now, so we felt like we had a chance to do some good things this year. We also have 5 sophomores. We have 4 sophomores starting, 2 on the offensive line, 2 on defense, and we have a 5th sophomore that plays a lot, comes in when we get in our spread book. So it's always a balance, and I think everywhere is different, and every personality is different. I mean, coming into Pasquotank, I felt like, and I've kind of beaten a dead horse with it, but we felt like, hey, we got to get this group disciplined. We got to get them mentally tough, and that's been kind of the 2 things that we just worked on. But as I came in, I was really impressed. They're some good kids, and they want to win, and kids want structure. They like structure. They like the discipline part. They might not always show that, but they do like that. And then stability, I think, is another huge thing. Just giving them something so that they know what the routine is going to be every day. They know on Monday, it's a defensive day. Tuesdays are offensive day. They kind of have some stability, but those kids, and they've won a lot of. Before the Pasquotank, before getting up into their last 2 years, those seniors, they did really well in middle school. A lot of those guys played youth ball with the Rampage, won a ton of games. So it's not like they've never won before. They do know how to win, and they're really hungry to win. But like I said, I think everywhere is different, and but I've enjoyed getting to know the kids, working with them, and it's just it's a process, and we're still very early in the process. But obviously very pleased with where we are right now.
All right, Coach. Last year, Pasquotank gave up a lot of points. What do you think has been key for your defense so far, 4 games in?
Well, we're trying to establish an identity defensively, and that's also a process, something that we've kind of worked on. But right now, we're just trying to be aggressive. We're not a great tackling team right now. We're trying to get there. We're working very hard on that. But just realistically, we're not a great tackling team. We did a much better job against North Pitt. They had a really athletic quarterback. But we want our defense to really think as little as possible. We want them to be able to play fast. We want to take most of their reads away. Now, obviously, this week with the option, they're going to have to be very disciplined. But we want them to be able to play football and not have to think a ton about what's going on. And that's kind of where we are right now defensively, just being aggressive and just letting the kids go play.
I think that's an interesting point, making it try not to make it too complicated, because Malcolm, we both heard from a few Pasquotank players last year that they thought, at least the offensive side of the ball, things were a bit too complicated. Mm-hmm. You obviously had skilled players at different positions, but it was the word complicated came up a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How have you simplified this offense to give guys like Marcus and Michael, these are your skilled guys, give them the ball as much as possible?
Yeah, well, again, I think it's about establishing an identity, and I think we've done that. I mean, we're a run team first. We've been able to get in a few formations and do it, but just getting an identity, and then there's obviously different ways. I mean, most people either a ton of formations with a few plays or a few plays. I mean, a ton of plays with just a few formations. So you're always kind of dealing with that balance too. But up front, there's a couple rules those guys have to follow, and we just we rep that a ton. We just work it and work it and work it, and they still make mistakes. I mean, we made some mistakes against North Pitt with our blocking up front, where if we were doing the right thing, blocking down instead of blocking out on a couple of occasions, we felt like we could have broken some more runs there. But I think establishing an identity of what you are, what you want to do, I think that's kind of the biggest key, and then you can kind of build from there.
Edenton, we'll go ahead and say it. Edenton has 599 wins all time. They're on the verge of breaking that mark that only 9 other schools have done in the state. Edenton's in the top 10 in the state for all-time wins. I believe the record is 599 and 327. So obviously, if they get a victory Friday, it's number 600. If that happens, I'm not going to blame you, Coach, and let me tell you why. I'm not going to blame you or the Panthers or any of that. I'm going to blame your dad. Because, obviously, if people know your dad, Jerry McGee, coached for Edenton for 4 seasons.
Right.
For 4 seasons, 2 state titles. So a number of those wins were because of your dad. So really, if your dad hadn't have gone to Edenton in the first place, Edenton would be like at 550 something, and no one would care. No one would care about that. These are math. These are facts.
That's the way to look at it.
It's math, and I'm not good at it, but this time I think I've got the equation figured out. So really, it would be like Edenton minus McGee, and then that type of thing. I'm going a little on the deep end now, but right there before I had it. And,
I understand, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. So speaking of your dad, he told me he's about done with an autobiography, writing a book. Do you know about this? Have you looked at this?
Well, he's it's something that he's always wanted to do. He's not shared it yet, but I know it's something that he has kind of been a dream of his, something he's always wanted to do, and I know he's been working on it, but he kind of kept it close to the vest.
Okay, so we're all going to just find out.
Yes,
I guess. Yeah.
I thought he would have sent you something. I was waiting for like a little extra insight. I thought I'd have a page. Or
it's something he's always. I mean, it really is something he's always wanted to do, and it's something he's really worked on it for quite some time. So, I have no idea when it's going to be done or what kind of timetable he's looking at, but I know it's something that means a lot to him, and he wants to finish up.
Malcolm, you've been in Northeastern North Carolina a little more than a year.
Yep.
Is this right?
Yep.
You starting to get a feel from the ins and outs.
Just getting there.
Reaching a little bit. We've given you a couple tests before about the people and places of Northeastern North Carolina. I think it's time for another test. I think now we've got another guy from Elizabeth City. This is a good time to do it.
I'm down for it.
You're down for it. This is good because we're going to do it anyway. It's a game we like to call, in the spirit of Janis Joplin, me and Chris McGee. I'm going to tell you a statement. You have to decipher whether it's me, or it's just Chris McGee, or it's me and Chris McGee. Okay?
I got you.
You ready for this?
Ready to go.
All right. While at UNC, McGee played for Coach Mac Brown while I got to interview him for the Daily Tar Heel.
I'm going to go with me, which is you.
It's just Chris McGee. We didn't go to UNC at the same time.
No.
Coach, you were there 94?
That's correct. I played in 94. Yeah, I was on the team one season, and that was the 94 year. We ended up going to the Sun Bowl and losing to Texas, ironically, where Coach Brown ended up going.
Okay.
See, he coaches much older than I am.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference here. Okay. Chris McGee won his first playoff game as a head football coach, and I wore 2 coats and doubled up on socks to cover it.
Me and Chris McGee.
Yes. It was Camden, Union at Camden, first round playoffs 2014. Cold. Cold.
Talking about in the 50s?
No, not Florida. See, we're talking about this area, not Florida. 50s. No, it had to be 30s. I would say 30s.
Yeah.
And it was at night, so let's add that to it. I don't think there wasn't a whole lot of wind blowing, which was a very good thing. I think it was calm enough to where if the wind had been blowing, it would have felt like it was in the teens. Wow, what a cold that. Probably the coldest though football game I've been to high school. Manio played at Northampton West. This was like 05. And of course, this is before Northampton is now. There's no East and West. It's just Northampton now. And Northampton West is up there not far from Lake Gaston. It's right in that area off I-95. Matter of fact, I think the high school is like right off I-95, close to the Virginia-North Carolina line. Absolutely freezing. We leave Manio, and it's probably like upper 50s. That's fine, like 60. We get there, it had to be like a 20-some degree shift, at least, if not more. I don't know where that came from. Unbelievable. That had to be the coldest. So that was a side note. While Chris McGee was a senior at Northeastern, I was a freshman in the fall of '94. Kind of gave this one away with the.
Me and McGee.
It's just me.
It's you. Okay.
Didn't you hear what he said? He was at UNC and not even listening. You're no fun with this.
This is Edenton coach Paul Hoggart, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Isn't it wet enough?
Yeah.
Malcolm, this is your time. I want to give you need this.
Yes.
You need this for you. For you.
Yes.
For you to Shimon now.
Jump on, get on me, all right.
Rocky Mount Sports Complex. I was there last weekend for the Down East Classic. Great atmosphere. ECSU brought out a lot of fans, and Morehouse had a respectable amount of crowd contingent. But there was just one thing that was kind of off: the scoreboard. Rocky Mount Sports Complex hosts high school games down east, but you got to put some light bulbs in that scoreboard. Kind of hard to read it when it looks like could be 1405 or 212, or I'm still unsure. Take a little bit of that Viking money that you guys got and put some light bulbs in there. Rocky Mount Sports Complex, Shimon now.
Jump on.
Has it always been that way? Coach, you played with Northeastern, and Coach Eric McDaniels, you played on that complex field a few times. Is that right?
Well, my understanding is I thought we played in the old one. If they played in that old one, then because I know they have a new stadium there now. But yeah, my junior year, it was my sophomore year. One that I would prefer to forget because I was playing. We were in a 6-1. I was playing the middle linebacker, and seemed like I had two big bodies on me all night. But so I really don't remember what the scoreboard looks like. I think we got out of there with a W, but that was one I try to forget.
Right. Are we talking? The complex I'm thinking is right on 64. You're talking about that one, right? Isn't that what they play?
Right.
Yeah, this has to be the same one then. Yeah, I didn't know of any new one. I mean, that's from a distance it looks nice and good structure and everything, and then easy spot off the road if you're trying to find it.
Yep.
And right across the street from the what used to be like the Hardee's Capitol, the Hardee's headquarters. That big building.
Okay.
You can't miss that building.
Yes.
Now. It's like this random 12-story building in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
Middle of Rocky Mount. That's Rocky Mount. I mean, if you're not hungry for some Krispy Kreme or Gardner's barbecue, do you know of any other reason, Chris, to hang around?
Well, I had some friends that went to North Carolina Westland that had a good time, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, there we go. Just trying to make sure we get all these facts together. We fact gather on these shows, fact gathering. So,
and also the Golden Corral there. It's a good place to stop when you have some away playoff games. I can tell you that we've stopped there a few times too.
That is good. Another good point. See the eateries. I would maybe still give Gardner's barbecue just a slight leg up, but the idea of like a full team, like you're talking about, Golden Corral's a little easier to get in, get out. So I will tip my hat to the Golden Corral of Rocky Mount and Gardner's and Krispy Kreme and then 64 East because I'm going east. That's it. All right. Well, NENC Twitter shouts are on the way when we come back.
Are you going to the big game? Snap pictures and post them to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with hashtag NENC Sports.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart and don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
All my love is all I have, and my dreams are very special.
LL Cool J trying to take songs from people.
I was thinking the same thing.
I bet you were. Another slow jam for the Northeastern North Carolina Sports Show. Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields, Chris McGee, Pasquotank football coaches with us. Time for a Twitter shouts.
Your tweets go here. Twitter shouts.
We mention very special because we take pride in the former area standouts that are making a difference in college. Here's a tweet from Troy Breathwaite. He used to be the offensive coordinator at Curry Tuck, helping out the Knights. Still helps out with the Knights football team. He's at Felix Bannock, FELIXBANNOCK. He says, proud of my man at DMF_ the number 5. That's Daquan Foreman. Making Curry Tuck FB proud, representing the 252 in NENC Sports. Of course, Daquan Foreman got his first ever college touchdown playing for Shepherd. That's a really good, Malcolm, Division II program. Reached last year's national championship game. So far, they're ranked 4th in the country this year. 3-0, blasting people left and right. Daquan Foreman gets a touchdown for him. Daquan Foreman, the fastest kid I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years out of Curry Tuck. Coach McGee, did you see Daquan Foreman play Camden Curry Tuck games? Unfortunately, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. They put him in that slot, and he was tough to deal with. He was a heck of a player.
He just had that second level just gone. If he got past one guy, it was over. It really was over. And one of the hardest working kids, and very humble, very humble. So I'm just trying to play hard. He's very soft-spoken. Around his friends, I've heard he's very talkative, almost a life of the party type kid. But to us, maybe we're the media and he's scared. But I know other kids that aren't. But he was one of those. I just try my best. Yes, no. I didn't ask you a yes/no question. But very good kid. I'm glad he's doing well at Shepherd. And I believe he'll be a bigger part of that program the next couple of years and possibly get a state. We're talking national title now, baby. Talking national title for and it would be great for Shepherd to win it all, just to tie it into what West Virginia's going to do. We're talking about our flooding right now, and I don't want to discount some of the flooding that's going on in our region, but what West Virginia had to go through this summer and is still having to go through. Richwood High School being an example of just that whole town just got wiped out. Absolutely. And they've come down the last couple of summers, worked out with Curry Tuck football, and coaches have become good friends. The head coach at Richwood used to be at Curry Tuck. That's a tie-in. And for Curry Tuck to reach out to them, Coach John Wheeler and a couple of his assistants went up there and helped with some cleanup. It's been amazing how they've gotten themselves back together. There was a story that went out across the country about the Richwood band being a very good band and having to get uniforms cleaned up in time and play, and people's houses destroyed, lives. It's just taken with this flooding that West Virginia had. If Shepherd could win a national title and almost kind of like bring something home, something else to just to make you smile, to get you excited, that would also be a pretty cool thing as well. So we encourage you all, of course, to tweet it about NENC Sports, and yours might get put on the air. Just post your thoughts or questions. We'll try to answer them. Use the hashtag NENC Sports. Now we get to the almighty, fantastic, wonderful, splendiferous football predictions.
NENC Picks of the Week.
Hopefully for Friday. Although we know of at least one that will not be Friday, it'll be Monday, and probably Monday in November when the Bertie field finally dries out. So we'll start with that one. Not that we couldn't wait for a few more weeks. Not playing Monday. Let's stop with that. It's nonsense. If they play Monday, I want to see it. I'm going to go out there. I want to see how this goes.
Bring your canoe.
It's going to be something. It's going to be J.R. Walker.
Splish splashing everywhere.
Yeah. Paddles to the right, to the left. He's at the 10-5 touchdown. And a lot of that's going to happen when Northeastern Bertie get together. This is the Eagles losing to Lake Taylor last week. They're going to want to bounce back some kind of bad. And Bertie is injuries to a lot of things. Much like Coach McGee's trying to do with Pasquotank, Coach Mazzell at Bertie is trying to build back. But the difference with Bertie is they've had a proud history. This is a team that won a state title only 16 years ago. Back when you only had 4 playoff classifications, not 8, 4. And they were 3A. They did it the hard way.
Yeah.
And this program has really taken a tumble the past few years. And he's gonna need some time. And it's not going to start with them beating Northeastern whatever Monday they finally choose. Northeastern.
I'm going to go with Northeastern.
Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, I just, like you said, I have a lot of respect for Coach Mazzell at Bertie, and I think he's going to turn that thing around. But I think Northeastern just going to be too much this week.
First flight at Camden. I can remember this game last year, and I was so confident about Camden winning.
Mm-hmm.
Why was I confident about Camden winning?
One Marcus Joyner?
Yeah, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it didn't happen. And I remember you telling me, Coach, what went on was like the kids' heads just weren't in it. It was just a game where it was almost like that day after the party the Varsity Blues kids had. You remember the movie? And not that they did that the night before. I've just let me make that very clear. I don't think they did. Is this a bad analogy? I got to roll with it now. I've already started. And the next day, they're just all throwing the ball over the place, and the coach is all mad. Is that what happened? Was that what happened?
Not entirely, but
right.
Yeah.
Especially not the throwing part, because you run the ball a lot. But
that's right. That's right. Yeah, and that was, I think we played that game on a Thursday night. It wasn't a Friday night, which we've had to get used to this year already. But that was another one that was close in the fourth quarter, and I think Camden turned over 2 or 3 times, and they put 21 up really, really quick. But that was one that I also thought we should have gotten. Was very disappointed at Camden last year that we didn't. But anyway,
that field, the Camden field, how sacred it is, and you're probably like me, Coach. It should be named after Scott Jones, and I know we've gone over that, but I just think it's silly. It's not, but we've gone over this. That's been discussed a few times. I know right now, though, he's looking at that field going, I really don't want to play on this Friday. I really don't. I already know the water is like ankle high. Obviously, you got to step on it because the grass is thick, but once you do, you'll see where the water comes up. And that's Wednesday night. I have a hard time believing this will be played Friday. Either way, First Flight comes in undefeated. And here's the crazy part. You have 4 Northeastern Coastal Conference teams with either in the NC Preps Baker's Dozen poll or they're getting consideration for it. That's got to be a first when more than half of your conference is doing that. You're doing something right. Out of 7 teams in the conference, I think there's 19 combined wins after some teams only play 3 games. Some play 4. So that's pretty big. I just First Flight seems to be on a lot of a roll right now, and I don't know if Camden's got enough bodies to be able to withstand 4 quarters. I got to go with the Nighthawks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with First Flight.
Yeah, I agree. To get that triple option going, they certainly got a shot, slow the game down. But First Flight seems to be playing really, really well right now.
I will say that with the field being like it is, would probably be an advantage to Camden, especially with it's still going to be slick out there to some degree. It's got to be, even if it's not raining Friday night, and that would lend me to believe that it could slow First Flight's offense down. But if it comes to Brandon Underwood having to do a lot again, it would be a lot on him to say, hey, the ball's going to be in your hands a whole lot, and you've got to will this team to victory. I think it's too much. Nansman Suffolk at Perquimans. This is a private school in Virginia. The only thing I'm going to put out there about this is I was interviewing some Perquimans kids after Perquimans beat Manio. They were already hinting at Gates the following week. Already ready for Gates. We got to talk about Gates because if we can get past Gates, then rightfully so, 3-0 in the conference. They're in somewhat of the driver's seat, even though they hadn't played Plymouth yet. So it was almost like, oh yeah, by the way, Nansman Suffolk. I think that's what something like that could trip them up. Mm-hmm. And it's really why I'm picking Nansman Suffolk. I think they're going to be looking ahead.
Nansman Suffolk, I think is a team I won a state championship out of the private school organization in Virginia. They don't have as many of their top guys back, but you got to think that this will be a good test for Perquimans, see where they match up against one of the more solid teams out of Virginia. But I'm gonna go with the visitors on this one.
Yeah, but Perquimans is one of those teams that if they hang around early and they can definitely do some things. I mean, we struggled with them early on, didn't play particularly well, but with Dallas Hall and Williams, the running back, I mean, they have some capable kids. I think Burke and Coach White have done a great job out there, but I'll go with Nansman as well.
If I'm Perquimans, I don't ever want to see film of that Perquimans Manu game from past Friday again. Oh my gosh. I've got a few scribbled down stats from being at the game Friday. We're talking Perquimans didn't even have 150 yards of offense and scored 24 points. One was a pick six to end the game when Manny was driving down 4. Manny was trying to start passing. Manny, don't try to pass again. It's just not what they do. I like what Coach Eddie Twine tried to do with the Redskins, though. He just kept long drives going. He's like, I'm just going to try to get 3 yards here, 4 yards there. And he had a couple drives that went 5 plus 6 minutes. So I'm starting to look at this going, I don't know if Perquimans is going to get the ball back to take the lead just because they're not able to stop these guys. And it's not like, I don't think Manu had much longer than like 10 or 11 yard run here and there. It was mostly 3 yards, 4 yards, 3, and making it work. And Perquimans was sleepwalking. Just not a lot of protection on the line either. Dallas Hall having to scramble for his life, and that shouldn't be the case.
I think it had something to do with I think they had their homecoming last week.
It was homecoming, and we joked around a little about that. And it's not really so much of a joke. There are a lot of distractions on homecoming. Mm-hmm. And I think some kids can get caught up in that really quickly. And Perquimans kids dress up as cheerleaders in the pep rally. Let's bring this out. Having the fun. Yeah. Maybe too much fun. Some really enjoyed wearing those cheerleader outfits. I'm telling you that. I don't know what that was all about. I mean,
sliding away from.
I don't know what's going. No, come on back. It gets better because Perquimans woke up when it counted.
Yeah,
and like Coach said, Dallas Hall, DeJuan Williams. That's a 1-2 punch that a lot of teams in the conference would like to have. I saw a level of fight in Perquimans at least that I haven't seen the last couple of years when Perquimans got down. Mm-hmm. I thought that did show something, and Perquimans, remember, trailed against South Creek. Mm-hmm. Came back and won that one. So these kids are starting to understand that it's not over when you get down 7-0. Mm-hmm. It was 7-0 at halftime, and Perquimans had less than 10 yards of offense. Anybody at that point is going to doubt what they're doing. but to their credit, fought back. So I like to pick Perquimans again, but I just think they're going to be looking ahead. Wow. Currituck, Hertford County. Currituck has got a lot of seniors. You've got some playmakers. Isaiah McCarraher, Ryan Edwards. I really believe that they're not going to let this be a free fall like last year. I have a hard time believing that's going to happen. I know it's been 3 in a row. They've lost now. Went to Wilson Hunt. That's a difficult place to play regardless, and lost that one. I don't know if it's going to happen, though, at Hertford County. That's another difficult place to play, so I got to give it to Hertford County, but I'm leaning towards Currituck, picking it back up at some point in this conference schedule and riding this ship that at first was just sky high, 2-0, 89-2, outscored opponents, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you got to wonder where the confidence is right now. And it's going to be hard to gain a confidence that you need to win when you're going to a Husky.
And you also have to factor in, with how the weather's been this week, how much quality practice time that they've been able to get in this week. So with all that said, I'm going to have to go with the Hertford County Bears.
Yeah, I mean, in this conference, we've talked about it. I've talked about it with some of the other coaches in the conference. Just any night anybody can win, and I think it's. I've had a chance to see Hertford County play. We went and scouted Gates County when our game got moved week 1, and obviously they're talented. But I think what you said, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. The fact that it's in Hertford County. If it's in Currituck, I might pick Currituck because I have a lot of respect for those guys, and we have them next week, so I hope they don't right the ship for a couple more weeks. But just the fact that it's in Hertford County, it just makes me lean towards Hertford County a little bit. But two good football teams.
Edenton at Pasquotank. Coach, we'll do a Kurt Herb Street with you. You don't have to make a pick. This is quite fine. It'll just be us.
Right.
And you like what the Panthers are doing. You really do. I like what Edenton's doing better. What else do I have to say? There's a lot of things working right. It was almost like that loss to Rocky Mount was like a half a loss. I did not say moral victory once again.
Yeah.
Edenton doesn't want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that.
Right.
That was not a term used. I said they got a half a win against Rocky Mount. Still ranked in the top 10 AP poll, 9th, Northeastern 10th. So I know a lot of people are salivating over Edenton Northeastern again. But the Aces have to take care of business against Pasquotank. I'm going to give it to the Aces. I'm going to say by 15.
Okay, and I think with everybody looking at Keemon Bailey and the offensive production by Edenton's offense, I think the biggest thing has been their defense. Last year they had a few games where they gave up a lot of points. This year they've been pretty sound, pretty disciplined. I think that's going to be key. How will the Edenton defense try to contain Marcus? They've got the athletes on that side of the football. It seems like they're really locked in on their keys. I'm gonna go with Edenton on if they do play Friday.
And we're talking a lot about Keemon Bailey and Marcus Cowell and Michael Cowell, Avion James, another guy you need to look for. He's another runner, really. Dante Johnson, I think he gets lost a little bit in this, and he scored the go-ahead against North Pitt. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, he sure did. He had 2 touchdowns against North Pitt.
Yeah. So him and Deshaun Hall for Edenton. I think those are other guys that could get lost in the whole Keemon Bailey, what he does, isn't it? And there goes a touchdown for Deshaun Hall because you're not focused. And you always hear it with option, discipline. Watch for the pitch, man. Watch. It's just, but you really do. It can get confusing in a hurry. You'll see some teams just start to get frustrated, like it sounds like Rocky Mount got frustrated. And I think Rocky Mount came into that game absolutely overconfident. And who can blame Rocky Mount? Look what they did last year to Edenton. They're thinking, what? Oh, okay, whatever. You've done some things in 2A. We're 3A champs. And it just shows how far Edenton's come in a year. And right now, Edenton's the hottest team in the area. It's hard. It's going to be hard to stop that. So, ECSU, the Vikings, beating Morehouse 35-30 in the Down East Viking Football Classic, I think, is it too far of a stretch to say saving the season?
They really needed that one real bad. That's the signature event for athletics throughout the year, and they came out and it was looking bad there at halftime, but they were able to get it rolling there, especially in that third quarter, and held on to get the win there.
And what's great about it too is I think we all looked at the schedule and went, the cross division games are ECSU's best chances at wins because the South Division is so down. I think 3, if not 4 teams in the South are winless right now. The North has been the better division the last 2 years. You could say it didn't show in the championship game with Winston-Salem beating Bowie, but at the same time, North Division has shown to be the best overall the past couple of years. ECSU going to Johnson C. Smith and Charlotte. I'm picking ECSU, just like I had picked ECSU in this game back in like July, early August, and then the Shaw next week, the first home game at Roebuck here. Johnson C. Smith, it's going to be ECSU. Johnson C. Smith has really given up chunks of yardage, points, whatever.
Especially in the running game, that's been their weak point. It's going to be interesting. It's been a kind of a theme the past couple of years with ECSU running the football traditionally. Can they do it? This will be a good chance for ECSU to try to, get something going in the run game and take a little bit of pressure off of Daquan Neal. I think it's the first time they've met Johnson C in about 6 years. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings with the win.
This has been like the ECSU fighting Daquan Neal's a little bit.
Yeah.
Without almost any type of rushing game.
Yeah.
You just hope he don't get hurt.
Right.
If Daquan Neal gets hurt, that's going to be a free fall. Go ahead. Say it. It is.
Yes.
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 You seen him?
Yeah. I think if they manage Jamon Oatman, if he had to come in, I think he could move them down the field, but they need someone to. I don't think Jamon's the guy who can run the football 10 to 15 times and take that beating. He's more of a traditional in the pocket type of quarterback.
Absolutely. And we know Oatman's got a cannon for an arm, so it's no part. Victor Tabbs will be fine either way.
Yes.
Receiver.
Yes.
He'll be fine. Either guy's going to get him the ball.
Yeah.
But you need that other element. And like you just said, Oatman doesn't quite have that element like Daquan Neal. Just all there is to it. Coach, you got a pick for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with the Vikings as well. I mean, I've kind of followed what you guys have been doing. Haven't had a chance to see him play yet, but you got a former player, Noah Tuttle's been playing in the secondary, he's playing well, and former Panther Jamon Oatman, you guys have been talking about, has filled in here there. But really like what they're doing over there. Had a chance to talk to their coaching staff. They come to a few practices, and so I'll go with the Vikings as well.
I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction I know will happen. Cresswell at Gates. Gates will win. That's because Cresswell's already forfeited. Just found out about that.
Man.
And I looked on the last Max Preps roster of Cresswell. Cresswell has 13 players right now. 13.
At least.
Yeah. And things happen, I guess. Yeah. But you lose a home gate now. There's no way for Gates to get somebody now. And if you're Camden hosts Cresswell on the 14th of October. You're hoping that gets played. You need some money. You need to bring, not that Cresswell's going to bring a couple hundred people or anything.
Just more just your home fans coming out.
Right. All right. You need that home game. And I've said this a few times, and maybe I'll say it one more time. Cresswell, Mattamuskeet, Hatteras, maybe even Columbia. I really believe the best bet for those schools is to play 8-man football. You're just talking about depth here.
Yeah.
And it's not like they would be the only schools in the East that play 8-man football. You could play, I think, Rocky Mount Academy, if I'm not mistaken, plays 8-man, Lawrence Academy. And to those schools, it's always been about, we just want to participate. We just want to play. We don't care about playing. Okay, you can participate this way. Play 8-man football. That way, a couple injuries here and there, you probably still have the numbers to play. You can play for some type of conference title amongst those teams. I think that's probably the best way to go about it if you want to keep football, because otherwise this could happen more often, and then you're sliding another team of a chance for a home game. Now, I realize next year you have realignment and it's going to be basically these schools against each other, but the same idea applies. What has been your thought about this, Coach? You've had to play some of these teams when you were at Camden.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel for them, I mean, they just don't have the numbers. And it's been rumored, for a few years about Cresswell possibly becoming an early college, and some of those kids going to Plymouth. But Coach Rogers, who I have a ton of respect for at Cresswell, he's been doing it, I think, over 40 years now, and it's just such a big part of that community. But it's tough for those guys to field teams. I mean, you're looking at I think they have 100, 150 students, and they're playing, like the Camdens, who have 600 students in the same conference. It's just, it's kind of a no-win situation. And like you talked about, I mean, they're in your conference. You have to be on your schedule, and it's always tough when they don't have enough and you do lose a home gate, because they are so important to all of the schools. I mean, 1A, 2A schools. I mean, every home gate that you get, I mean, it really funds a ton of the other sports that you have throughout the year. So it's a tough situation. I think you're onto something with the 8-man football. I think it's something that they could do, and probably should. I know Cape Hatteras, it's always every year, it seems like, are they going to have a team? Are they not going to have a team? And if they did that, even I know Beargrass Charter's coming in that conference. I mean, then maybe you get a Beargrass. And, I mean, you've already got, I think they're going to have 5 in that conference. I mean, play each other twice. You got 8 games. You play your 8-man football. I think it would probably be a good thing, because the other problem you have is one of those teams is going to win that conference, and they're going to be hosting a school first round of the playoffs, and it's usually pretty ugly when that happens. So anyway, it's a tough situation. You want those guys the students that are in that district to have a chance to play athletics and play football. So it's a tough call, but I definitely think you're onto something with the 8-man football.
One more game, let's throw it out there. Mesquite at Manio, and the Lakers started out 2-0. They were feeling good. It was Cresswell and Hatteras, but they were 2-0. And now I think a rejuvenated Manio team that gave women's all it could handle, probably going to feel a lot better about playing Mesquite and getting that win. I think if there's any chance for Mesquite to beat what I call one of those upper coastal teams with the better enrollment, like a Camden or Brookwomen's, this is their best chance. But Manio definitely on Roanoke Island. I got Manio winning.
Go with Manio.
Yeah, I was impressed with the new coach at Mesquite at the media day. I thought he said some really good things. But I think Manio is just going to be too tough.
That's it with the predictions. So it's going to be a real quick high school roundup, because, as we know, rain, and then a little bit more rain. That's even kept teams away volleyball-wise for the most part, because schools have been delayed or canceled today, all that kind of stuff. We did have a little bit of volleyball. Riverside beat Eatonton 3-0. Brookwomen's lost the first set to Manio 29-7, but then won overall in 4 sets. It's one of those rare occasions, Malcolm, where Brookwomen's or Camden loses a set to a team not named Brookwomen's or Camden in the Coastal 10, because these two schools just go at it each and every year in volleyball, and one takes the conference title next year, the other one. I would say it's going to be sad not having them together in the Coastal 10, but in the Albemarle Conference next year, I think it's going to be the same thing. I don't think anything changes, just the name of the conference, and that you're not loading up on Cresswell, Mesquite, Ocracoke wins. You don't have to drive down to Ocracoke to play a doubleheader. Then next year they come to your place for a doubleheader. It probably will make it better. It will probably make the volleyball series more exciting, because Eatonton's going to get better. Gates will improve. Manio, we just saw, took a set off Brookwomen's, so it'll keep those teams on their toes so much. Instead of, you talk to these girls, the first thing they'll say is, we're just ready for the second time we play Brookwomen's or Camden. They know what they're going to be doing in the rest of the conference, and you can get a little lackadaisical that way. But that next matchup will be in Hertford. I'm the same way. Let's get to that rematch.
Down for it.
Let's get it done. Ah, man. I hate to close up such a great show, but we have to do it. We have to end this. As we close up, of course, remember to follow us on Twitter at NENC Sports. I'm an ONOBX. Malcolm?
And Malcolm_Shields.
Coach, you got Twitter as well, don't you?
Yeah, Coach McGee 8.
All right. We go beyond the radio time. It happens. But we're on YouTube now. Check us out on YouTube. It's a lot easier for people to figure out, I think. I just say, go to YouTube. You can do a search, WRVS, us. There it is, each show of the 3rd season. And, of course, that's Got It All. Rowan Hassel, Malcolm Shields, Pasquotank coach Chris McGee. Can you stay dry? You think you can be able to do that?
Right now, it's a tall order, but we're going to try.
Yeah. Well, thanks as always for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And it's the NENC, and don't you see?
Athletes live here.
NENC Sports Radio Show is produced at the WRVS-FM studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University.